Morning. So last week I did a video called I Hate My Job. It got a lot of views. Apparently everyone loves a bit of negativity. I'm trying to keep it positive. I'm now doing part two. All these forget-me-nots have got to come out, and it's worse than that. She wants me to dig over the soil. And the reason I don't want to dig over the soil is her garden is this was dug over last year, and all the seeds are now dropping into the soil. And it's poor quality soil, which is why you're going to get all the weeds, which includes forget-me-nots from a certain point of view. But if you look at what I'm doing, this was dug over last year. Over the winter, the worms have been in, and they have rebuilt the soil structure. You can see them there. You can see that the top of that is actually worm castings and wormholes. All of that is worm castings. So I've advised, and most people ignore this, just chuck a load of compost on top. And then when it rains, that all goes down into the soil structure, and the worms come up and build it even more. They build amazing soil structure. You're going to have fertile soil, and then you'll get healthier plants and a lot less weeds, because all of these weed seeds down here won't germinate on rich soil. So it's a win-win. You don't have to dig it over. You get healthier plants and you don't get weeds. Year on year, you get less and less weeds. But instead of that, I'm going to dig all this over. It's going to look lovely for a few minutes, and then next year she's going to have a load more weeds, and I'll have to do it again. But at least it keeps me in work. In contrast, the job I was doing yesterday, what's today, Wednesday? The job I was doing Monday was in the one of the dethatcher videos, Ego dethatcher videos, and it's on a slope. The house is kind of on a hill, and the garden slopes all the way down. So a self-propelled mower is essential for that. We're only going uphill. It's kind of like a wildlife area, and that's where I put all the garden waste and the wood chips and stuff. And then beyond that is a bit of a field belonging to another property with a stream that runs all the way through Willesden. And what I would do with that, if it was my house, which is never going to do, cut all the drain pipes, cut the bottoms off, put a few water butts, have a pond at the top of the house, let the pond, let the drain pipes fill the pond, like I've got in my own garden, goes into a water butt and then fills a pond, and then the pond overflows into the garden. And then all that water would run down the garden and into the stream, a bit like it did before we went and built houses all over the place. And then, can you see me? Part two. Turn the garden itself into like a giant sponge. And in Asia, they're doing these amazing sponge cities where they're putting in lots of greenery. So when it rains, all the water soaks into the ground rather than rushing straight into the rivers, and that is helping to stop a lot of flooding down the stream. Oh yeah. And then the water would come down the drain pipes into the water butt, overflow into the pond, overflow into the garden, soak into the soil, helping to stop the floods. And then also, when there's a drought, which there inevitably will be, if I stab myself in the hand, that's going to be the thumbnail. This video will go viral. Gardener stabs himself in the garden. And it also helps to stop the droughts because the water is held within the soil. as it should be. So I get to do a lot of that in most of my gardens. But some customers are a little bit older. They've been doing this for years. They say it always works, which is why they do it year after year. Completely unaware of the contradiction. If you're doing it every year, it's probably not working. So, let's carry on. Like and subscribe. Let's see if I can talk her into just putting a load of compost down this year. See if that helps.